Okay, so it's recording.
So what is your official job title here at McDonough?
Director of Diversity.
Director of Diversity, and of course English teacher.
And English teacher, yeah.
How long have you worked at McDonough for?
I've been here for about 10 years. This is my 11th year.
Did you teach anywhere else before you taught here?
Yeah, I taught a bunch of places. I was trained to be more as a university teacher, so most of my experience before McDonough was teaching at a university, although I used to work with student groups, youth groups. So I worked at UMBC right before I came here, and I taught literature in the Africana Studies program. So I studied, or department, I taught there, and then before that I taught at University of Delaware, and then before that I taught at Temple University, and then when I was still living in San Diego, I taught at San Diego State University and San Diego City College.
So you have a lot of experience working with colleges. Would you say you liked working with the colleges, certain colleges better, maybe a certain place better than McDonough, or do you think that McDonough has been
it's been great. Like, I think probably because of the kind of teacher, I'm trying to get your picture in here too. Because of the kind of teacher that I am, I like discussion more than lecture. And a lot of college teachers tend to be lecturers. They do have discussion, and that's actually shifting. There's been a shift in terms of focusing on lecture and a little bit on discussion, and now it's kind of the discussion reinforces the lecture as opposed to the lecture being the main thing. Right. So that part of the way I teach has been, maybe I've been able to express it more here because I'm more discussion based. I lecture some, that's fine, but I'd rather have a discussion. Right. I'd rather let the students talk, and I might throw in a question or something like that.
What was your education leading up to McDonough, or you're teaching you're teaching at colleges and teaching at McDonough? A little bit. Just give me a little bit of your background, some of your education.
I have a PhD from University of Pennsylvania. The department was folklore, but for people who don't know that much about folklore, what I studied was ethnomusicology and dance. So my degree is really, even though it was folklore, which a lot of people think is storytelling, folklore is dealing with folk art, and so it's everything that people do and say that's artistic. So that's what I did at Penn. And then before that, I went to school at Cornell, and I got a master's again, well, that one I was definitely focusing on literature and poetry, and then a BA from San Diego State.
Are you originally from Maryland, or?
Originally from San Diego.
San Diego. So do you like living in San Diego better, or do you like living here better?
I like living here, although I miss home a lot because my mom's still there. So, and, I love the beach, and sometimes I fantasize about going back when I'm in my 70s or 80s and, just learning how to surf, and that I'm just going to be an old surfer lady. So, that's one fantasy. That's why I had you guys reading about Now I Surf for Girls. No, I'm kidding. But no, yeah, I miss the water a lot. So, living on the East Coast has had challenges in terms of that I can't get to the water as much.
Ocean City.
Yeah, but it's like a whole trek. When I was living in San Diego, it was only 20 minutes away from the beach.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I miss my mom and I miss the ocean. But everything else, and I do still have friends there.
How often do you visit home?
Definitely once a year. Definitely once a year. Do you want to see if it's recording?
It should be.
Yeah. Definitely once a year and sometimes twice a year.
Okay. So what do you think is in terms of your job as the Director of Diversity, what do you think is the most important aspect? What do you think is the most important thing you do as the Director of Diversity?
The most important thing that I do? It seems like planning programs and planning ways to make the teachers more aware and making sure that the students are able to do activities to make the student body aware. So a lot of it seems like that. I do sometimes get to be in the fray, like there's a situation. We really need you to talk to this student. So that comes across my desk, every now and then. And when I do that, when I'm able to do that, then I really feel like the one-on-one kind of thing. I really like that. And I love planning events. That part is fun.
What type of events do you plan?
So we planned the retreat. There's a retreat for the diversity, for the students.
Okay.
And then right now I've been planning the conference to go to Houston, which is the annual National Association for Independent Schools Conference.
Wow.
So that's cool. And then we'll plan the regional conference, which is schools from throughout Baltimore, Pennsylvania, Delaware will come to our school, and they'll have activities and workshops about diversity. So those are like the major things I plan. Then multicultural night is huge. If you've never been, you got to go before you graduate. So that's a huge event that I help plan.
Okay.
The parents are a really big part of that, though. So they're the ones who really make that train go.
I actually was in the multicultural night last year.
Okay, which one? Which
Chinese.
Oh, nice.
I take
With
Chinese.
Were you doing the kung fu
Yeah,
one?
the kung fu.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Did you like it?
Mm-hmm.
So you already know what that event is.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge. Like, that's huge. The whole school is involved, and
We're probably going to do something again.
that's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yeah.
So what do you think about McDonough's diversity level right now? Do you think that it's diverse enough, or do you think that, how do you think the tolerance is towards diversity? What's your feeling?
The joy is always in the forward movement, I would say. So I think that it's great that McDonough has devoted resources and personnel towards making McDonough more inclusive. So I think McDonough is definitely on the right track. I think there's certain things that we probably need to attend to, but I think part of the issue is that society is one way, and in our school we really want our students to be good people.
Right.
And sometimes the way society is right now, that's not necessarily, that banner is not held as high. Even though it is, it's really held high, but then in a lot of ways with the media and things, we know a lot of negativity stuff and, bad behavior is exciting, right? It makes the news. So I think that, as much as we can keep moving along that path, recognizing what society is like, and making it real for the students so that we're not creating a situation where students are like, oh yes, we love and trust each other, we can accept each other's differences, and then when they get out of McDonough, they're like, whoa, some of these people are really whack, like they're just... So, as long as we can keep that balance, I think that we're moving along well.
So you think that's the biggest challenge?
I think that's one of the challenges, and I think that would probably be one of the bigger challenges. And then the other face of that is that because we want to have good people and we want people to be nice and honorable, sometimes we don't address issues. Like, we're afraid to because we don't know how to say it, because we want to be politically correct, or if I even examine this issue, then that means that this is huge, and I don't want to make it big, So I don't know. I don't know if I'm answering.
What makes your job enjoyable from day to day?
The kids, of course. I love working with kids. I love working with young people. I love it. I think that's definitely the best part of the job. Yeah.
So what are what in your view is a view of success, like in terms of like when you see, like from what the work you put in, what do you see as like, what do you see as success on a day-to-day basis?
I think what I see as success on a day-to-day basis is that there are more and more students who think that diversity is cool. That, to me, I feel successful in that. And I also think I feel success when more and more teachers want to be a part of a crew of adults to work and to really try to enlighten people and to make people more aware. So the more people who do it, then the more I feel successful. So that makes sense.
So you feel like your goal is to when McDonough students graduate, you want people to be well-cultured, you want...
Mm-hmm. Definitely,
okay.
definitely.
Can you describe one specific experience that highlights your teaching or diversity career at McDonough?
Diversity career. Well, Alex, this is my second year doing it. My first year, the students did not like me because I was not Miss Howell. I don't know if you knew Miss Howell. She was the one who had this office previous to me. She's very maternal. I'm not very maternal. I'm like your aunt, you know? So, like, I can give love and nurturing, but in a way, I'm like, yo, you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your business. I'm not going to, you know, embrace and coddle you. That's not my personality. So I think that shift was a challenge for me. And I think it was a challenge for the group to keep going and to keep moving and to trust that I was still behind them, you know, and that I still wanted them to do it, but that I wasn't the same person and that it was going to be okay. Mm-hmm. So I think that was definitely a challenge last year. And then that situation with the painting, it seemed like there were a couple of other things that happened last night, but that painting thing stood out. And then some things that students told me, like on the down low, kind of was like, for me, I was like, wow. So how do we address these kinds of things when I can't really openly say it, but I have to figure out a way to address the idea. So I have to make this specific thing part of a bigger thing so that people can at least figure out how to get to this point of addressing that.
So you think the painting last year's painting situation was like you think that was good in terms of our school's
growth? I do. I do. I mean, on one level, it was bad. Like, wow, why would you? Why would you do that? But on the other hand, it made people talk about the issue more,
right? And
feel okay talking about it and figuring out how to talk through it,
right?
So that's why I think sometimes this whole idea of being politically correct and, you know, I don't see color and all that stuff is so whack because first of all, it's not honest.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really help us to get to the question of why would you say you don't see color, or why would you take down a picture of somebody else's creativity?
Right.
You know, like we need to get to the bottom of what that really means. Like what's going on? So I think you know, sometimes that politically correct thing gets
in the way.
I do. I'd rather someone just be honest so we can deal with the situation.
Okay. Do you have any idea what time it is? I actually have to.
You gotta go.
I don't know if I have to go or not.
You've been talking for a while. It's 3:25.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
I need powder on my forehead. It's so shiny. I must not have any pores.
What do you think? What do you enjoy more, your teaching, or do you enjoy your job as the diversity director?
The only reason I'm sighing is because I've only been doing this is my second year.
Right.
And my first year, I was teaching too much. I was teaching 3 classes, and then I was doing this job, and I think it kind of it was. I think they kind of reinforce each other in a way. Because if I was the diversity director and I didn't have a lot of interaction with students,
then you would feel disconnected from the community.
I would definitely feel disconnected because I wouldn't, you know, be there knowing about so.
So they kind of interconnect. They're hand in hand.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How do you implement your diversity work in your classroom?
Well, that's a good question. English, it's so easy. Because I get to choose stories. And so the stories that I choose, I try to choose a variety of different authors from different places and different subject matters. So I try to get writing that explores different issues. So that's easy. But I'll give you an example. Like there was this situation where this boy in this class, he's not very good at speaking. Like it's hard for him to get his words out. And one day, these boys were like kind of laughing at him and telling him to shut up, you know. And so I stopped the class and said, you know, that's just not
right.
Yeah. And we talked about why. It was so funny, like no one would admit who said it. So I said, who said it? Who said it? They were all like,